There is a rule that every community living on the edge of the Congo jungle follows without exception. Not a law. Not a government instruction. A rule passed from parent to child for generations so old that nobody alive remembers when it started. After dark, you do not go into the jungle. Not for any reason. The communities that have broken this rule, the ones with accounts of what happened when they did, do not break it twice. Tonight we are going to find out why. Subscribe right now and turn on the notification bell. Number 7, the jungle that screams back. The loudest jungle on earth goes completely silent. Not gradually. Not partially. Everything. At once. And what fills that silence has never been classified by any scientific institution. The Congo jungle at night is one of the loudest environments on earth. Millions of insects. Hundreds of frog species. Nocturnal birds calling through layered canopy darkness. A biological orchestra so dense and constant that researchers who have spent months inside the Congo basin describe it as a physical presence, sound you feel as much as hear. It never fully stops. Except when it does. Multiple independent sound recording teams working in the Congo basin across different decades have documented the same phenomenon. In specific interior zones, at specific hours of the night, every sound source cuts off simultaneously. Every insect. Every frog. Every bird. Not gradually fading. Cutting off. Together. As if responding to a single signal that human instruments cannot detect. The silence that follows is described consistently as wrong. Not peaceful. Not natural. Wrong in a way that experienced jungle researchers find immediately and deeply unsettling. It lasts between 30 seconds and 3 minutes. And then something screams. Not a predator vocalization matching any documented Congo basin species. Not a distress call with a known biological source. Something that field researchers describe as sustained, directionless, and unlike anything in their professional experience of African rainforest audio. And then the jungle starts again. Insects. Frogs. Birds. As if nothing happened. No scientific paper has been published explaining what triggers simultaneous silence across several kilometers of dense rainforest. No study has identified the source of the sound that follows it. The jungle turns itself off. Something screams into that silence. And the darkness continues. And that scream, the one no laboratory has ever classified, is not the most terrifying sound recorded inside this jungle at night. That comes later. Stay with this. Number 6, the colony that consumes everything. 20 million living things move through the Congo jungle at night. They consume everything in their path. Every creature. Every structure. Everything. And they do it in complete silence. The Doralus driver ants of the Congo basin conduct their largest foraging movements after dark. A column of up to 20 million individuals moving as a single organism. A living mass up to 20 meters wide consuming every living thing in its path that cannot move fast enough to escape. During daylight a column can be detected at distance. The movement on the ground. The birds following the swarm. The subtle collective sound of millions of bodies in motion. At night, the first indication that a column is moving through an area is when it arrives. Congo communities have a specific emergency protocol for night column movements. Everything evacuates immediately. Livestock. Children. Those who cannot move independently are carried. Because the column does not slow. It does not navigate around obstacles. It moves through them. Documented village accounts from across the Congo basin describe the same experience, waking in the night to find the column already inside the structure. On the floor. On the walls. Moving across sleeping individuals. The correct response is immediate evacuation. Every second spent stationary is a second the column continues moving. 20 million. In darkness. Through everything in their path. Silently. Until they reach you. But here is the detail about these ants that the scientific community has never been able to explain. In certain deep interior zones of the Congo, 20 million driver ants that move through everything stop. And go around something instead. Something that has never been identified. We will get to that. Number 5, the predator that studies you first. The signal that a Congo leopard has entered proximity at night is not a sound. It is the complete absence of one. The jungle goes quiet around a single point. And by the time that silence is noticed, the decision has already been made. The Congo leopard is the apex nocturnal predator of the jungle interior. Camera trap research conducted across the Congo basin has documented something about its hunting behavior that distinguishes it from every other large predator in the ecosystem. It observes before it acts. Footage from multiple research stations shows individual leopards appearing at the perimeter of human settlements on consecutive nights, 3, 4, 5 nights in sequence, without approaching. Watching. The same animal. The same position. Different times. Different nights. Researchers interpret this as a deliberate learning phase. The leopard is mapping the settlement's patterns, identifying predictable movements, locating the gap in the community's awareness. Which paths are used after dark, where the firelight does not reach? Which individuals move outside the settlement's perimeter and when? In the Congo jungle at night, the signal that a leopard is close is not a growl. It is the insects around you going quiet. The small animals in the undergrowth freezing. The jungle pulling itself inward around a single point of absolute stillness. By the time that stillness is noticed, the leopard has already finished its assessment and made its decision. But the leopard is not the only thing in this jungle that watches before it moves. What comes at number 1 has been observed approaching human beings at night for over a century. And unlike the leopard, science has no category for it at all. Stay with this. You need to hear number 1. Number 4, the river that should not glow. Congo river communities have avoided specific sections of the river after dark for generations. Not because of crocodiles. Not because of hippos. Because of what produces light beneath the water surface at night. And what that light is, no published scientific paper has explained. The Congo River is the deepest river on Earth. In certain interior sections it descends beyond 220 meters, deeper than most continental ocean shelves. Its lower regions are lightless, pressurized, and home to species of fish that exist nowhere else on Earth, evolved in complete isolation from the surface world above them. At night, in specific documented sections of the river, light comes from beneath the water. Not reflected moonlight. Not standard bioluminescence as observed in marine environments. A diffuse pale illumination spread across wide sections of the water surface. Visible from the bank. Moving slowly beneath the surface in patterns that shift as observers watch. The communities who fish these rivers daily, who navigate crocodile territories and hippopotamus zones as a matter of routine, do not avoid water out of fear easily. They understand the river. They have worked it for generations. And there are sections they will not go near after dark. In 2019, a research team conducting overnight water column sampling documented the phenomenon in field notes and collected samples from the illuminated section. Laboratory analysis identified unusual concentrations of mineral compounds that the team could not trace to any known upstream geological or biological source. The light is documented. The compounds are real. The source of neither has appeared in any published scientific paper. The communities who have observed it for generations apply a simple and consistent response. After dark, that section of the river does not exist. And what is producing that light beneath the water, some researchers believe, may be connected to what the sound engineer recorded in the jungle interior that same year. A connection that neither team has publicly acknowledged. But that both sets of data point toward. That connection is number 3. Number 3, the sound that science called intentional. Something inside the Congo jungle at night produces a sound so structured and so organized that the laboratory that analyzed it used one specific word in their report. That word was not animal. That word was not wind. That word was not equipment. The word they used was intentional. In 2018, sound engineer Marcus Whitman spent 30 days inside the Congo Basin recording wildlife audio for a professional sound library. Over 200 hours of material was captured. The majority was cataloged and released commercially. 3 recordings were not. Each was captured during overnight sessions in the deep interior. Each was submitted to 2 independent audio analysis laboratories. Both confirmed the recordings were authentic, no equipment malfunction, no post-production artifact, no technical source of any kind. Neither laboratory could identify what produced them. The first, a low-frequency pulse, repeating at irregular intervals, below the threshold of most standard recording equipment. Described by Whitman as felt rather than heard. As if something was communicating through the ground itself rather than through the air. The second, a complex layered sound. Multiple simultaneous tones shifting in pattern over approximately 8 minutes. Structured. Organized. Changing in ways that the second laboratory described in their analysis report is consistent with intentional signal variation rather than random biological or environmental noise. Intentional. That is the word a scientific laboratory used to describe a sound recorded in the middle of the Congo jungle at night. A sound with no identified source. From a jungle that is 80% unexplored. The third recording, a single sustained note. Lasting 4 minutes and 17 seconds without interruption or variation. No biological organism in the Congo Basin's entire documented wildlife database produces an unbroken vocalization of that duration. Not one. The 3 files were excluded from the commercial library. They have not been publicly released. No explanation for their source has been offered by either laboratory that analyzed them. They remain in an archive. Unidentified. Recorded in a jungle that covers 2 million square kilometers of territory that science has barely touched. Something in that jungle makes sounds at night that a scientific institution described as intentional. And nobody knows what it is. But whatever is producing those sounds, it has been seen. Not heard. Seen. By communities across the entire Congo basin for over a century. And by a research team with a night vision camera in 2017. That is number 1. And it is coming. Number 2, the thing that 20 million ants refuse to pass. 20 million driver ants move through everything in the Congo jungle at night. No predator stops them. No obstacle redirects them. Except one. Something in the deep interior of the Congo that the entire colony bends its path around. And nobody knows what it is. Field researchers studying driver ant movement patterns in the deep interior of the Congo basin have documented a consistent and unexplained behavior. In specific locations, characterized by dense undergrowth and ground disturbance patterns consistent with very large animal movement, the columns redirect entirely. Scout ants map the route for the main column through pheromone trails. When scouts return from a specific area without laying a trail, the column bends around the perimeter of that zone entirely. The behavior indicates the scouts encountered something that produced a signal strong enough to override the colony's standard forward movement. Driver ant columns redirect for no documented predator in the Congo basin. No known animal produces a chemical deterrent sufficient to alter colony movement patterns at this scale. The zones they avoid are in the deep interior. The ground disturbance patterns in those zones occur at heights significantly above what any documented Congo basin species produces during normal movement. The vegetation damage in those zones is consistent with something moving through the jungle at a size that has no match in any current wildlife classification for the region. Something moves through those interior zones at night. Something that 20 million consuming ants that move through everything, that have been documented processing through active fire, choose to go around rather than through. What that something is, has not been identified. The scouts went in. They came back without laying a trail. And 20 million ants changed direction. Whatever they found in there, they did not want the colony to follow. And the zones the ants avoid, the researchers who have mapped them noted something that has never been published in any formal paper. Those zones align with the exact locations where the lights have been seen moving between the trees at night. The same locations. For over a century. That is number 1. Number 1, the lights that move toward you. In 2017, a conservation research team captured footage of lights moving between trees inside the Congo jungle on night vision equipment. The footage has never been released. No statement has been made. 9 years of silence from the researchers who recorded it. Across the Congo basin, across communities separated by hundreds of kilometers with no shared language and no documented contact with each other, the same account exists. Lights. Moving between the trees at night. At heights between 3 and 8 meters above the ground. Pale. Blue-white. Approximately the size of a human head. Moving slowly and deliberately through the jungle interior. Stopping. Changing direction. On documented occasions, moving toward observers before retreating back into the darkness. Belgian colonial researchers recorded these accounts in Congo administrative documents from the early 1900s. Missionary journals from the 1940s and 1950s contain the same descriptions from different communities in different regions. Field researchers working across multiple decades noted consistent community reports and unpublished field notes. The accounts span more than a century. They come from communities with no awareness of each other's reports. And yet the descriptions are identical. The height. The color. The movement pattern. The behavior of approaching and retreating. In 2017, a conservation research team working overnight inside Salonga National Park, one of the largest protected rainforest areas on Earth, captured a light source on night vision camera equipment. Moving between trees. At a height and in a movement pattern inconsistent with any documented bioluminescent organism in the Congo Basin's wildlife database. The footage was logged in the research team's archive. It has not been publicly released. The team's lead researcher responded to a single journalist inquiry with one sentence, that the footage was under review and no further comment would be made until that review was complete. That was 2017. No further statement has followed. 9 years. The lights continue to move between the trees every night. In a jungle that is 80% unexplored. In darkness that covers 2 million square kilometers of territory that science has barely touched. And the communities that live closest to this jungle, the people who have observed this for generations, do not go outside after dark to look for them. They do not need to. They already know what happens when the lights move toward you. 7 things. 7 nights. One jungle that has been producing the same accounts, the same silence, the same lights, the same sounds with no source, for over a century. The Congo Basin is not a mystery that science is close to resolving. It is a mystery that science has barely begun to ask questions about. 80% of it remains physically unexplored. Whatever happens inside it at night happens whether anyone is watching or not. Whether anyone reports it or not. Whether anyone believes it or not. The rule exists for a reason. After dark, you do not go in. Now I want to ask you something directly. The lights between the trees. The sounds a laboratory called intentional. The zones that 20 million ants refuse to enter. 3 separate phenomena. 3 separate sets of documentation. All pointing at the same locations inside the same jungle. 3 possibilities. 1 natural phenomena science has not explained yet. 2 something biological that has never been classified. 3 something else entirely. Which one do you believe? Drop 1, 2, or 3 in the comments right now. I read every single answer and I reply to every one. And if this video changed how you think about what lives in the dark, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Because next time we are leaving the Congo. And going somewhere the darkness is completely different.